If you're doing the profit first methodology, which we do a hybridization of it, we know our margins, we're aiming at 15 to 22%. In that system, you're going to pull that 15 to 22%, whatever your margins are, that through your bookkeeper or Pajak or Element software, Synced Up, Aspire, whoever you're using, you're going to pull that aside too. So Profit First is an interesting book to read. If you get a chance to read Profit First, it's kind of cool. If nothing else, the multiple bank accounts, and I'll say it for the sake of saying it, if you don't have...
I want you to almost unlearn some of those things and just start really diving deep into your numbers specifically. Don't worry about everybody else. I know that it's always great to have the industry standards, but I found over the past 6 years that the industry standards are not always the standard. So really take a deep dive, look into your numbers, and find out what works best for you, and then you create the milestone.
One of the questions that we ask is, what do you do in your spare time? Because that allows us to see what after work life looks like. We find out if they have a family, if they have kids, and then we kind of find out what's important to them too. Okay, this guy has 3 kids, he coaches a t-ball team, he's gonna need off every day by 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock or whatever. So that really gives us insight as to what life outside of work looks like for him.
And two, when you're looking at people like that, if you ask the same thing, what are extracurricular activities, they coach, they volunteer at church, whatever, that should give you an indication of, what caliber of individual they are potentially, right? It's not a be-all, end-all litmus test, but it can help you understand, again, just the caliber of individual. So yeah, I volunteer at the soup kitchen or whatever, or I like to hunt, I hunt all the time or whatever. And just, it helps you kind of figure out those are things we ask.
Yeah, I would say, where do you want to be in a year? They talked about being 5 years, once they're in your company, sit down and have those quarterly. But if you ask that, I think that 1 year is a good introductory, what do you want to do in the next 12 months? Because, I want to hire you for at least a year, usually. So that's what I would say.
We talk about goals. Whoa, I am loud. I always ask them about goals and things, and I always ask them, do you like crack cocaine? Do you like those things? Do you like living the fast life? All right, thanks. We got your number. We'll call you back.
So these guys mentioned vision. So when they come into our company, before we even do the interview with them, they actually sit down, and in front of us, they actually see what our vision board looks like. So we set it down right in front of them so they can see where we're headed. So they always know before we interview them if they want to be part of our company or not, just by going out what our goals look like in the future. Along with that, the question that you asked, what I like to do also is when someone's doing the interview, we send someone out to their vehicle to make sure that the inside of their vehicle is clean. So we know if they can't keep their stuff clean, they're not going to keep ours clean.
I would never get hired.
Next question. Raise your hand, I'll come to you.
Where? Huh?
Is Naylor out there? Where's Naylor? Ah.
I'd like each one of you to kind of tell about the company, how many employees you have, just a little bit more about you and your company.
So down there.
We are a landscape design focused company, but we're design build, and in beautiful Fairfield County, Ohio, those of you that know. We're 4 full-time employees. We hover right around $1 million in revenue. Brittany and I are in the office as our primary roles. We also have a couple other companies, which is why we have to not be in the field. So we have the Kid Contractor Podcast, social media channels, the Hardscape Academy. It's our life by design, so that's the way we kind of engineered it. But we focus on landscaping, hardscaping, and drainage work, and a tremendously heavy emphasis on equipment and tools and excavators and stuff that allow us to do really good, really high revenue with a limited amount of employees. So that's our company in a nutshell.
I'm Growing Green Landscapes. We're here in Trussville, lawn maintenance and landscape company. We don't do any hardscapes yet, mainly just softscapes. I'm going to add on landscape lighting this year, and I have the Growing Green podcast, so that's another venture. And we own a trash can cleaning company called Brighter Bins. So that's us in a nutshell. Oh yeah, how many employees? I have 3 in the landscape company. We're looking to double this year, so we'll have to add employees this year as well. So the Brighter Bins, there's no employees currently because we just started last fall. So this first year we'll see where that goes.
All I got to say is I'm glad I'm answering before my friend Jonas Olsen over here, because I'm going to feel I would feel meek afterwards. But anyway, I have Turf Tamer Lawn Care is a business in Cherville, Indiana, Northwest Indiana. We're a fertilization and weed control company. We have 2 employees currently. We usually have a little bit more in the summertime, but we have the same issues as everybody else. Some people just fly in and fly out and those things. But my goal, or the way that I run the business, is more about doing more with less. And we invest in the right equipment. We just really dial up all of the clientele that we have by marketing, being very direct with our marketing. When we first started years ago, we used to take care of 7 different cities, 7 different towns. We're now only offering services to 2 towns. So it's not about just being this big, vast thing. It's about really focusing in and making it as manageable as possible. Like with, Naylor had mentioned earlier with his whole talk with route density. And that's the key. That's what's really helped us excel. But other than that, is there anything I missed? All right. Oh,
Profits with Pajak.
well, yeah. I mean, I thought they were just talking about. Look, I got a lot of things in the pot here. I also offer, coaching. My financial coaching, budgets, break-evens, and bottom lines. Everybody's talking about it. Thank you so much, Almonds. You guys are lovely people. And if you ever want to go to the Hardscape Academy, they have in-person training, which is a fantastic investment. Anyway, then I have Profits with Pajak, which is the podcast. We talk about business strategies and financial insights for the green industry. And I'm also a father and a husband. So a lot of things on my plate, but I think I manage it pretty well. I just don't sleep.
It's that application process that keeps you up.
Yes.
All right, so like I said, my name is Jonas Olsen. I own Turf Badger. We're out of Wisconsin and Michigan. Last year we had 4 offices. This year we'll have 10. March 1, we'll be up to 10. Last year we ended at 3.9. We're projected to do about 6 million this year, but my goal is 10. Like I said earlier, our goal is to make the PCT top 100. Last year we were about 65 employees, just technicians and office staff like that. And we just hired our 65th sales guy last week, so our goal is to have 100 guys by springtime. And on the side, I do the Pest Control Main podcast. So I interview pest control companies all over the country. Do some coaching on the side just for fun, just because I enjoy helping others. And that's pretty much my life. I would just work, and I got 3 daughters myself, so my oldest daughter is in wrestling. She wants to go to college to wrestle, so my weekends are typically coaching her in wrestling, so that's what I do.
The in-depth bio that. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear him. That was
This question might be more for the Auman. Thank you for your presentation earlier. That was really great. You mentioned a company handbook. And kind of updated. Do you provide that to your employees electronically, or do you use a paper copy? And how did you implement it, and what do you do to get the style of the
Okay, so they get a paper copy initially, bound and everything, with the signature page. They rip it out and give it to me once we've gone through the hiring process. And then all of the updates we give them paper-wise, and they have a folder that they received at the beginning of their employment that they're supposed to keep everything in. I don't know what they do with it after that, but they do they sign off on any updates, and we just keep everything in their employee handbook file. So we haven't digitized it for them or given it to them that way.
You shut up.
I don't know that it would actually work.
So, so we actually use Triennial. So anytime someone's onboarded through our company, no matter it's sales, operations, CSRs, whatever, they all have a pipeline they go through. So they all go into Triennial, and then Triennial will pretty much digitize everything. It links with DocuSign, things like that. Even your payroll company will link with it too. So it makes everything just super seamless. They have to sign every single thing. You can even create little tests in there for sales guys or CSRs, make sure they read the manual. And when they're done, they just have to sign off on that too. So.
I think if you're going to digitize it and send it to them, you would need to do some type of test or accountability to make sure they actually look through it.
Yep.
If I just hand them that book and it's sitting there, I feel like they at least thumb through it a little bit. I can hope, and they might.
Gotcha. When it comes to fertilization weed control specifically, if it's going to be a rain day, like we do have like a 2-hour show up time. So I know that that's not always ideal, but it's like even if, you know how it is, it's like it could be rainy, it could be pouring rain, and then all of a sudden it just clears up. So we want to have everybody in-house at least. We want everybody to show up just to be at least ready to go if we get a clearing. If not, we're going to compensate them for their time for being on site. We don't want to cheat anybody out of any pay. It's like it's going to be hard enough as it is anyway, if we lose production. We also run 4-10s, meaning we work 4 days, 10-hour shifts. And that leaves Fridays open for any kind of rain day, any rain delay. And most of the time, even in the rainy times, guys are still getting their 40 hours. So it's not always ideal. I know what you're talking about. If you get a monsoon, you might be delayed. God bless you. You might be delayed by a week or maybe even more. And I know it kind of cuts into your bottom line a bit to be paying for, time that is not billable. But that also goes back to our pricing schedule. We price in for unbillable time, for windshield time, for things like that. Unfortunately, sometimes it does have to go to, we're making a lower profit, but our people are still loyal to us. And I mean people, I mean our employees. So, that's how we address that when it comes to rain. Do you guys want to talk about?
We run the 410 thing as well. We're not in a spray world or anything anymore. But when it comes to that, what we have is just an expectation and understanding with our team as far as like we have 40 hours a week of production we have to get in the ground. And yeah, there's weeks where it's just awful and we might get 30 in or something. But at the end of the day, it just comes down to the work has to get done that week, and we're going to work around it and figure it out. And spraying and stuff again, yeah, I understand it's completely limiting, but we're going to figure out something to do to turn revenue, or we have a shop day of something that needs repaired. But there's production, they know that, we understand that, and it's what has to happen. So, and I know it sounds like tough guy talk or whatever, but that's just the reality. And so our guys are like absolutely allergic to Saturday. Like we haven't worked a Saturday in I don't know how many years, but the guys will do whatever they have to, and especially even since we moved to 410s. I mean, they will work some crazy hours Thursday to have a 3-day weekend, and they'll get their production in. Now, part of that's shifting a little bit this year with us with a revised budget goal, but it's really just based on an expectation that X amount of work has to go in the ground that week. And that's a culture thing in the company, and you may have to work into that if that's going to be new for you, and you may get some pushback on that. You'll have to kind of nurse through that or massage through that as easy and slow as you can. But you may also start the season out of like, guys, we're changing a few things. So we're X amount of work's got to get in the ground or on the ground by Saturday or on Saturday. Oh, shop efficiencies. Holy smoke. I get really excited talking about shop efficiency thing because we moved into our big facility last year, and the ROI on that place amazes me all the time. Long story short, as a landscape design build company, we have done everything we can in our power to stop going to Home Depot, you name the box store, whatever. We have brought as much inventory and supply in-house as possible to where our guys load up pipe parts. I mean, I don't care what it is, bags of concrete, whatever we need, with the exception of like paver materials, which get delivered to the site from our suppliers anyways. On fuel at our shop, the guys aren't going to gas stations anymore, any of that kind of stuff. We have everything nearly that we can possibly need on the job at our shop now. And so instead of sending one guy 20 minutes to Home Depot, mill around there for a little bit, get stuff they need, head 20 minutes back, and then another 10 minutes north to get to our site, those guys are loading up in the shop what they need for the day or that job that week or whatever, and they're heading to site. The idea is to get on site as fast as possible is our mantra anyways. And so that has been absolutely huge for us. And our mortgage went up like 300% from where we used to be. But now that we've brought everything in-house, the labor and our productivity to the moon, as Jeremiah and I are loving to say now, like unbelievable how much difference that has made in just eliminating that stupid crap of guys going in town to get a scoop of topsoil. I can't say enough for as best you can outfit your own company as if you were a Home Depot for whatever you specialize in.
To add to that, now Auman HQ is a beautiful place. I'm sorry. Oh, okay. Auman HQ is a beautiful place.
What can I help you with? special order stuff, as best we can, is going to get ordered from supplier and sent straight to site. That's ideal. Or it will get sent to our HQ and then a week ahead, 2 weeks ahead, whatever the case is. And we're not always perfect about this, by the way, either. We still screw some stuff up and got to go get something from Home Depot, whatever. But yeah, long story short, it's coming to the shop. We are doing our darndest not to go to Home Depot. We want to load up in the morning and be gone within 30 minutes and on site. So that's how we live there.
Let me come to you with mine. I didn't see you.
Jason over here. Oh.
Let me come to you with mine. Sound things up better. You got a question while he's talking?
One thing too on that inventory while he's getting her, it can be done with any company, no matter what you do.
I'm going to add to the stuff here. There's so many different things. I was just going to add, Auman HQ is a beautiful place. I love it. It's, it's their dream to build the shop. But for those of you that aren't there yet, we still use storage units. And the thing is, I've got 5 units right now, 10 by 30s, 10 by 20s, and to create efficiency with it, everybody just meets there because I even bought more parking spaces there. So it's not like everybody's coming to my house or anything like that. Everybody's on site. When a trailer or a truck goes out, they're parking in those same places, so it works out perfectly. But also, each one of those units has its own purpose. It's not like you have we just recently got rid of all our mowing and everything. You wouldn't ever have mowing equipment and fertilization weed control equipment mixed in. And we even carry, it's not ideal, but over the winter, especially when we're trying to clean out all of I will still pay for them even though they're completely empty because I know I'm going to be filling those things to the rafters for the upcoming season. So each one of those has a specific purpose. One is just a chemical locker for all our liquid chemicals and things like that. We have ones just for granular. And the more organized you are when it comes to this, it really starts saving you money too. It's not just about, what else can I fit in here? It's like, look, right now this is filled with pre-emergent. This is filled just with our liquid chemical. This is where we house all of our the actual equipment, the ride-on equipment. But the cool thing is, it took me years to do this, but I have all of them in one block. So they are facing each other, they're right next to each other. So it's like I have my own little, my own shop, my own warehousing there, and it really makes everything efficient. So I could even tell guys hey, I could only give them the key to one, and they only have access to it. So it helps prevent loss of material, loss of a lot of things. There's been some employees that have come through that decided that, hey, that pump on the wall looks really good. I'm going to take that, sell it on the street, and I'm going to take some Acceloprin, which is, if anybody use Acceloprin, grub control? Yeah. So, the price tag on that stuff, right? It's like $1,300 for a half gallon, and you got guys that are like, I'm going to pee in this jug because, I got to go. And that's really happened to me. But anyway, I hope that helps answer your question.
How are y'all tracking inventory numbers for performance sees that need a certain amount of material that they're going to pull out of the bulk out of the lot? Who's adjusting all this different?
I have to go first. I would love to tell you that I do it all, but I don't. So I hired a director of operations, and she's amazing. She did all this. Everything is through our CRM. We use field routes. It tracks, so everything that we buy, we put in there. And as the techs are out in the field, they have to log in, log out, and it tracks how much product they put in. It'll actually come off of our inventory inside the shop. So it's not a great answer for you because
What's the app?
we use field routes. So it's our CRM for pest control. And to answer the last question about making things easier in your shop, and I went the total opposite direction. I made my whole business easier. And so my trucks don't even come to the shop at night half the time. Our technicians get to take them home. They can fill up at home because they're small, backpack sprayers or 100-gallon tanks. And they can leave from their house. We pay for performance. We don't have to track their mileage. I don't really care if they're going to the gas station at this point, because they're not getting paid if they don't do the work. But you're good guys that you're doing pay for performance want to work Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. They can. And our goal is to make sure that all of our technicians are making $70,000 a year.
One of the things that I've done recently is and this is very, very simple and basic to what he's doing, but I created a Google spreadsheet, and so for our fuel tracking, I have a QR code that I made that links to the actual Google form, and I put that on the fuel tank, and the guys scan it with their phone, and they put in there like who they were, what it went into, gas or diesel, and what the hours were on the pump. And then we keep track of that. I have a QR code on the shop door that says, hey, what do you need? And so anytime the guys see something in the shop that's needed, that form gets sent automatically to me once they fill it out. And we also have a Google Doc form with another QR code for suggestions. And so that way it's anonymous. If they see something or they want to complain about something, there's only 4 of us. So, you know, if you do it out loud, then it's hard. People aren't always honest. So making it anonymous and they can just tell me how they feel, that's also a QR code that we did this year.
Sorry about the coughing, folks. I've been able to ditch this for 3 weeks. I don't
Kayla's been sick since 2020, so he's still trying to get over it.
Chronic.
He's called for 4 years
just
now.
cough the ball and I'm dying. One thing though, we to be in full frankness, like we suck at managing inventory as far as like how many bags of Quikrete we have on hand and pipe and stuff like that. We're working through that, trying to find a system. We don't. I like the thing Jonas is talking about there. We got to figure out something because it's not what we're doing is not working, frankly. So we're kind of stabbing our way through it at the moment. But one of the things too we are considering is putting one of our guys in charge of that, one of our four team members in charge of managing that, right? Same thing like he's saying, but they're going to keep track every month, week. We don't have this figured out yet, but they go through of the 60 bags of Quikrete we're supposed to have on hand, there's 30 left. We get a report from them. 20 tons of 57 limestone on hand, it's down to 5, need to order it. They're responsible for ordering it. We're working through that. So if you've got any suggestions, I'm all ears. So.
Again, this all goes back to CRM. We use Yardbook to do that. It has a capability when we're doing our applications. It will put, you got to program it a little bit to do it, but once it's on autopilot, it's like when a guy goes and does an application, it'll pull from that job telling you how much should have been placed down, and then we still do manual checks to make sure that our numbers are right as far as like the data that we put in there. So if it's like, hey, this property is going to take 50 or 100 pounds, which is 2 bags of fertilizer plus, we calculated it out to be like, say, 2 quarts of chemical, it will take that from our inventory. So at any point in time, I could just kind of, even when I'm out of town now, I could open it up, look at it, and say, oh, and it has warnings too. It'll tell you when you have low inventory warning. So maybe the guys have used in, say, like a week, you're like, I'm good. I just looked at the rack yesterday, and we got plenty of stuff. And then it comes down to it, and it's like, oh, we only have, 5 gallons of this product left. It's definitely time to re-up it. So.
For the landscape guys that are out there, when you get bigger, there's a software called Aspire, and it's going to cost 1 to 2% of your revenue, so it does get expensive. But it even links with like your products that you use for your shrubs and everything. They'll link it to your supplier's price list, so when their prices go up, it automatically alerts your system and it'll upgrade the plants and everything right in there for you guys. So you're not ever like going to bid a job, then you're coming back, and all of a sudden, like a month later, that job calls back and says, hey,
materials for the previous season,
like we're going to go forward with that now. And you're like, awesome, you take the down payment, then all of a sudden you go out there and you go buy your plants and everything's double the price. Well, during that period, Aspire will notify you and say, hey, we're going to up our prices, so it'll update all of your quotes that you had previously sent out before that too, so it's pretty cool.
You want me to take that one? Okay, so the question is like, instead of dropping it in a bucket, so like if you're looking at your everything, like you're looking at your labor and you're looking at your fixed expenses, things like that, that's what you're talking about, right, Sergio? Okay, yeah, so I just wanted to make sure we're on the same page. But I don't like giving out a percentage to that, because even though we're all in the same business, a lot of times it's a unique number. Because if you look at it, let's just take labor and labor burden for instance, okay? it doesn't matter. All of us on this stage could offer our guys $20 an hour if we were paying by the hour. Jonas has a whole different pay for performance thing. It doesn't really count. But anyway, let's just pretend we all spent we're all. I'm just saying, no, it's good. But I'm just saying, that's the future, I think, really.
Try to keep our labor between 50 or under 15%.
So the thing is, we could all look at this on stage. We could say, hey, everybody charges $20 an hour, and it's like, oh, well, that should be this percentage of your business, right? But the thing is, we're in different states, we're in different areas. You've got to look at your FUTA, your Federal Unemployment Tax Act, your state unemployment. You have your workman's comp, which could be it could range big time, depending on not only on your work history and how much you have used workman's comp. If you had to file a bunch of let's just say my guys were really reckless. They got hurt on the job. Maybe I'm a bad boss because I didn't give them the safety equipment that they needed. But Jeremiah has a spotless record, and he has like 3 times the amount of employees. We might be paying the same, and when it comes to the workman's comp, though, even though I'm a crazy, hazard, and I'm jacking up those prices, he might have perfect guys that don't ever get hurt on the job, but he might have double the amount. So anyway, all these things start to add in there. And it's like, okay, well, for me, maybe my labor, a fully loaded person, might be like, say, 23%, which is nuts, But then the Aumans, they might have a perfect record. They might pay their guys really well, but they have benefits packages. They got a matching 401k. They have health care, dental, all these things. Those are things that need to be put into that labor burden that you got to recover. So it's hard for me to tell you like a percentage. Just to be honest with you, I know there's a lot of people out there. There's a lot of, so-called gurus that are out there, and they'll just bark out, you need to be 20% this, and you need to be 5% here, and blah, blah, blah. It's like, I want you to almost unlearn some of those things and just start really diving deep into your numbers specifically, and then don't worry about everybody else. I know it's always great to have, like, the industry standards, but I found over the past, 6 years, that the industry standards are not always the standard. So really take a deep dive, look into your numbers, and find out what works best for you, and then you create the milestones. So
it's never safe to compare yourself to another company financially, ever. So that's why you hire a bookkeeper. That's why you get someone to help you understand your numbers and learn what your labor burden is, and learn how much money you should be putting away for taxes and how much money you should be saving so you can reinvest it into your company. Talk to a bookkeeper, talk to not another landscaper, talk to someone who knows and understands numbers, and let them help you understand.
And maybe I totally misunderstood the conversation anyhow too, or the question. One of the things about breaking down, I think it sounds like profit first methodology. Is that what you're kind of getting at? So the way we kind of break stuff down, just again, you can't go off our numbers by any stretch, but we have a handful of bank accounts, right? And so like every deposit that comes in, say it's $10,000, 30% of it is going to go into, we know our material costs average 30% or whatever. And so all this stuff gets thrown into these different buckets you're talking about, and we have different bank accounts. We know our labor is always X amount of percentage, so it gets thrown in that payroll account. We have a tax savings account that's 30%. We know all our taxes average that. So of a $10,000 deposit, immediately 30% is going into the tax account, the tax savings account. Right. And then also, if you're doing the profit first methodology, which we do a hybridization of it, we know our margins, we're aiming at 15 to 22%. In that system, you're going to pull that 15 to 22%, whatever your margins are, that through your bookkeeper or Pajak or Element Software, Synced Up, Aspire, whoever you're using, you're going to pull that aside too. So Profit First is an interesting book to read. If you get a chance to read Profit First, it's kind of cool. If nothing else, the multiple bank accounts, and I'll say it for the sake of saying it, if you don't have, everyone in this room, let's just all nod and agree, and if you don't, you'll start one Monday. We have a business bank account and we have a personal bank account, correct? Everyone nod, even if you're lying, and then Monday you're going to go do that, right? And we're paying ourselves out of our companies. At least let's start there, right? So that's my take on that.
We're going to have time for one more question, and we're going
Aw.
to take a break, and we're trying to get everybody out of everything.
Okay. Yes. We utilize Yard Book, which I help train people on that as well. I do a lot of stupid things, huh? Anyway, it's not stupid, but yeah, you could set it up. It's all about doing it's like getting the pre-work done, okay? You got to do some groundwork. You got to level the groundwork for yourself when you're setting up in Yard Book, okay? But like when I'm going to send anybody out, there's a report in there. It's a property-sized report. We could run that, and based on the information that's in each client's inside their profile, we could just say, okay, hey, you know what, this person's 10,000 square feet, 9,000 square feet, and it's all, it's actually done to the square foot. It will compile all that number, so you'll get a total of whatever your number is, and then we know by the application rate of all of our products, we can say, all right, we're going to need X amount of bags of fertilizer. We're going to need to make sure that we mix up, a 200-gallon tank of our weed control or if it's fungicide, whatever it might be, and then that, that's already planned out. So they're not going out there, and we always do a 5% over, so that it's always better to have a little bit more than to be like, man, the technician's like, yeah, I ran out like the last yard. What's going to happen? Either is he going to drive all the way back out, or is
pull up on the curb? You pull up on the curb, and then hopefully the water goes.
Yeah, exactly. So you don't want anybody ghosting anybody. So we make sure we have enough product plus a percentage just to make sure that they got all the coverage they need. The other thing that you were asking about, automating your chemical reports. When we set the jobs up, we build the jobs out. You spend a little extra time building those jobs. And the cool thing about in Yard Book, you could build a multi-step chemical program to where once you spend in the off season, you could spend all the time like building this thing out, and then once it's ready to go, you could assign chemicals to it, and there's a whole, it goes very deep really. Once you assign somebody to that, it is basically on autopilot. It schedules all the jobs for you for the season. You just have to tell it when to start, and when you complete those jobs, you could just hit auto-generate your chemical tracking, and it'll tell you, like, based on their property size, you should have used 35 pounds of granular. You should, if you're doing a blanket spray, you should have put down 2.6 gallons of premixed herbicide. So it really goes very deep. You could have as many products and chemicals assigned to it as you want, and it just helps you automate everything, and it's just very, very quick and efficient.
And I would just say that we always route in advance, so at any time, like, we're like a quarter ahead. So we know every single month, day, week, whatever, of how much chemical is going on and how much products will be out there, and also how much labor we'll be spending the next 2-3 months as well. So like, we don't even go to a property, we just pull it up on, let's say, Service Autopilot or Pest Routes. We measure it all up online, and it just spits out a rate matrix, tells us how much we're going to charge, how many applications we're going to do, and what it's going to cost us to do the job too. So we know those numbers before we even get there. So if you called and said, hey, can I get an estimate to your company, and you send a guy out there to measure up with a wheel, they call our company, and it's already sold before you get there. So
Hey.
those who aren't using a CRM and say that it costs too much money, $150 or $1,000, whatever it may be, it will change your business forever.
Jason, real quick, I know we're trying to end here. I wanted to get Jeremiah's take. I don't think he got the input on the shop yard space, and Mr. Young Hustle here is building a yard at the moment and about to build a shop, I think, at least in the near future. Could you throw in on that real quick and turn my mic off?
Yeah, I'll be fast. Yeah, we just bought a piece of property, and we hope to build a shop on it probably the next 2 years. But right now, it's just clearing it for a yard space, and that's gonna be huge for us. I've 5th year in business, going into 6th. We've done 4 years, and we've operated out of my house. It's out of the driveway, so it's definitely doable. If you're in that stage, hey, I'm with you. I'm literally in the process right now of like moving stuff up to the shop yard, to the lot and stuff. So we're gonna start with a shipping container. That's how we're gonna do it. So if you don't have money to build a shop, it's okay. There are other ways around it. The Aumans have into the business for 20 years now, and they just built a shop the last couple of years, and like it takes time to get there. So if you're not there yet, don't get discouraged. You can start with a shipping container. We're going to hopefully put some bulk material out there. We do pine straw a lot down here. We do mulch, so hopefully get some of that on the lot and optimize the best we can. And also, it's going to help with company culture because, like, right now, the guys have nowhere to come and, like, hang out or talk. Like, and one, like, when I start hiring random people, I don't just want them showing up to my house at all hours of the day. But that's what we've done, and so it's gotten us by, but it's time for that at the end. And so now they're going to have a yard. All the trucks are going to stay there. They're going to meet there, go in and out of there every day. So they'll have a space to, if it does rain, they can come back and hang out there or whatever, like, and potentially like have bonfires down the road or whatever. It's so simple. It's such a, like, small step, but it is a big step at the same time, getting a space like that. And I'm done. But my 2 cents aside from that, I want to ask a question. Who in here actually does have a bookkeeper? I want to see a show of hands. Okay, so that's like 10 people, 10 or 15 people. Awesome, 10, 15 people. The other 120 of you, please get a bookkeeper. Like, if there's nothing else you take away from today's conference, I'm sorry, I'm bringing it down. Like, these have been all high-level questions. You need the big softwares. You need all this stuff. You cannot grow if your books are not in order. You can't do it. And you have to get a bookkeeper on. It is, I don't even think about it. It's money I don't even think about because the amount of money they saved me is outrageous. By being able to learn these reports, they taught me the reports. And so whether it be Megan and Joey, whether it be another bookkeeper, you have someone local, whoever it is, they're great. I use them. But it is not a pitch for the landscaping bookkeeper. It's a pitch for, hey, change your business. Actually see what you're doing at the end of the year. And so please, like, that's my one, like, challenge to anyone. Please get a bookkeeper. And if you want to do it yourself, you're stuck putting receipts in a shoebox. I'll tell you just one app that I've recently stumbled upon that's been great for me. It's called SimplyWise. No affiliation with them. It's just a great app. It's so simple. The process for receipt capture is awesome. Go check that out. If you are going to do it yourself, at least please, like, keep up with your receipts and document those things. So if you do get audited, you at least have that stuff in hand.
I think we all learned the hard way.
SimplyWise.
And I was just saying, we all learned the hard way, me included. I went the first 3-4 years in business doing the same thing everyone else is doing in here. And I learned the hard way too. And it wasn't until I got my shit together, pardon my language, that and realized, hey, I need to know my numbers. I was losing money every year, banging my head up the wall, wondering why I wasn't growing. I wasn't growing because I didn't have any money. So know your numbers, the biggest mistake everyone makes.